It's as old as time it is, being chased by the monster, you know, running away afraid. But that's our plight on this planet spiritually, in the realm that we're not looking at or we don't see. You know, we're in...
Feeding it.
Yeah, and we're being pursued by monstrous, you know, individuals that we believe are the same as us, but they're not the same as us. They're a different seed. They're the serpent seed. They just inhabit the same bodies as we do. You know, they look exactly the same, but they go to different universities. They go through a different education. They have a different upbringing. That is nightmarish, where they're ritually abused and shattered as children, because this is a serpent seed. I don't know what goes on in a serpent's nest when them eggs are hatched. I wouldn't put my hand in. I'm gonna get killed. I'm gonna get poisoned, and that's what they produce, is poison. They poison men and women by their ideas, by their personas, by their lives, just by what they are. They are not supposed to be here. You know what I mean? God did not create this place for man and for woman. He did not create it for the serpent or his seed. Once Adam seeded that dominion, this place turned into a prison. They were cast down here with him, so we would learn, so we could discover our way back to the Creator. And this is the journey we're all on. We get 100 years if we're lucky to achieve something, and we either do or we don't. But when you look out, you see these men, and they all believe that they're doing good. You know what I mean? They all believe that they're doing right. All these security services, and they're spying on everyone and blackmailing everyone and doing horrendous satanic, you know, realities in the 3D realm to the fellow man. But they have a belief, you know, that it's for a good. It's for a good. You know, these are bad people. They have whatever belief system they have. Their actions, you know, on a day-to-day level, you know, are going to be judged by the one who created them. Whether they believe it or don't believe it is irrelevant. But like within that sector, you've got this serpent seed that look the same as us and sound the same as us, that through fear are running men and women who really should know better. You know, but these are a different creation. These were not created in the image of God. These were created in the image of the serpent. That's why you have to call them Ser. So when they're in charge, the reason that this serpent has taken control is for 3 reasons. It's to kill, to steal and destroy. That's his mission. That's the only modus operandi they know. If it's anti-man and it's causing harm, it's of the serpent seed. It did not have its origins in God. It come from this, well, the Bible calls it sin. It comes from the seed of the genetic crossover that should never have took place. God didn't create any of that. They have no conception of the power of this serpent seed who is in control of it. They go in there unarmed spiritually. They go in there blind as a bat with all these beliefs, you know, that they've got and aspirations that mean jack crap, because spiritually they're of no effect. And sooner, you know, soon within time, little bit by little bit, this serpent seed just takes over like a dimmer switch. You may start off bright, but they'll just start turning the light down, and the light down, and the more you respond, the darker it gets for you. You respond, the darker it gets for you, the darker it gets for you. And no matter what your aspirations are, or what your beliefs were, or what they still are, you're going to be judged by your actions as a man. It doesn't matter that there is no card or any governmental agency or any law or anything so you can become a murderer. You know, you can't have a permit to become a burglar. You know, it's wrong to take another man's property. You know, everyone knows that. You know, thou shalt not kill. You know, so you can't kill people. Well, you can't hit people on the head either with a stick, and you can't spray pepper in the face either. You know, and you can't put them in chains. That's called slavery. You know, you can't then put them in a dungeon until they do what you say, or until you let them out. They have a whole different vocabulary, and when these people are in that dark situation, they can't see it. It all makes total sense to them. You're a bad guy, you're a bad man, I'm a good man, I've got a white hat, you've got a black hat. They're not operating within reason or logic or anything. They're operating like an automaton. controlled, and it's darkness that's controlling them. Yeah. And you know, I can be in there, I can't see my wife or my children, my grandchildren, everyone's worried sick about me. I haven't done a thing to anybody. You know, so how does that situation come about where good men and women will do that to other men and women who have done absolutely nothing wrong, and all of that, and the consciences are clear? Well, it comes down, we just talked about Mouse City, and how these 15-minute cities and these housing estates and these complexes are there to destroy people, which they do inevitably. You go back to any housing estate now, and there's guns everywhere, there's drugs everywhere, there's prostitution everywhere. It's just a mess, and it hasn't finished yet, but they have started killing one another. It's in the paper every time, and that was from the mouse experiment. You know, so because of the acceptance by the serpent seed that is a good idea, that people eat themselves and destroy themselves, then obviously we're going to have that one. So we get the housing estate, but then you've got to enforce that. How are you going to get people to go along with that? Well, they haven't got enough. There isn't enough serpents to do that. They have to coerce, and they have to instill belief systems into our own children, into our own families. You have to be very careful what beliefs you receive and act upon. You know, so like with the thing, you've got that Mouse City with, you know, they know exactly how that was going to turn out. Now they tweaked it into 15-minute cities. They're going to be painted fabulous. But then you've got agencies then, other government people aren't just going to willingly, you know, who are awake or who've got any idea or any sense of self-respect, you know, are not going to take a universal income. They're not going to be a slave or you know, they've got a different spirit than that. So they need people, men and women and all that, who are in the exact same plight. They're going to live in these hellholes. They're going to be fleeced. These men and women are going to have absolutely nothing. The children are going to be killed. They're going to be killed. But they've got a belief system that's not the way it is. They're not looking at reality. So somehow they've got to coerce those people to do what's in their direct interests. That's going to cause them real harm. It's going to ultimately cost them their lives, and they've got to convince them to, you know, make sure we conform, to make sure that we comply, the divide and conquer, the turning family member against family member, the turning society against. The police are supposed to be there, and we're created for our benefit so we can all have peace, not so you can get your door kicked in because a corporation or a company, you just make up an arbitrary set of rules. You just write on a piece of paper this, a piece of paper that, and you respond like somebody's put a SIM card in the back of your neck. You just run to that. It's a piece of paper. You know, Elon Musk's going to be a SIM card. You're going to get uploaded with at work every morning, unless you're a man and you act as an individual and you act according to your God-given conscience, and that you're going to be somebody's slave. It's the Bob Dylan song. You're going to have to serve someone. So like you've got like men and women who are out screaming, frightened in the streets over these lies the governments are telling all the time, and then they instruct another group of men and women. They're going to be destroyed, but they're not. They're in darkness. They've taken oaths to uphold the system, and they're being made the governors. They're part of the governor mechanism. You know what I'm saying? You know, you have a governor, maybe 3 or 4 different chambers and different valves and different settings and all of that to maintain a position. Well, the serpent seed wants to govern to maintain the position that we're in, where we will willingly and without no protest willingly walk to our deaths. Because, you know, the serpent seed that came to kill, steal and destroy. It's already stolen your self-respect. It's already stolen your birthright. It's already stolen your money. It's already stolen your peace. And it's stealing your children. Now it's going to take the genitals off them. It's going to try and convince your sons that the daughters that the sons. The whole thing, they just want to tear up the original blueprints. You know, they've got us now dependent on this system that they've created. This alternative where if I want to get somewhere, you know, a fancy living there and I want to buy that house and it's £100,000 or whatever, you know, I've got to go to the serpent seed, to this system, to ask them, you know, for the wherewithal to be able to do it, and permission and planning permission, and then I've got to go and work down the coal mine or the salt mine as a slave to produce pieces of paper that they issue, that they produce, and stuff. I've got to work for 30 years down a salt mine to get these bits of paper to hand back to them, just so I can have what are required for life and limb. So then, they come back to you. Then at the end of all that, and they never put a penny into it. None of them that Serpent Seed, all they've got is when you go up the hierarchy. Now, they never built that house. They never supplied the bricks, they never quarried the stone, they never mixed the cement, they never laid the trowel, they don't even know that it exists. But you're going down the coal mine and you're going to shovel coal to give these bits of paper to me because you owe me those pieces of paper. Because them pieces of paper are valuable, aren't they? You go, yes, Serpent. Yeah, so where did he derive the value from? And they say, well, my cousin here's in the garage. Yeah, I'll show you where we lift the garage door up. And there's his cousin going with the printing press. And they're everywhere. And that's the system, that they control the printing press. And that controls your activity, that controls you into slavedom. They're just printing them off. It's just paper. 10 million in 10 minutes. No problem whatsoever. So when you've got the power and the access to do that, you can go and buy companies, you can go and buy houses, you can go and buy streets, you can go and buy politicians, you can go and buy because money is not an object to them, they just print it. But money shouldn't be an object to you and I either, because the scriptures, when you stood on the scriptures, he says, my God shall supply all of your needs according to his riches in Christ Jesus. That's what it says. It's either true or it isn't. You're running on a different bank account. So there's something going on here that these people understand. They've been shrinking heads since the 1800s. There's pictures of them in all the geographic magazines and all of that. Well, they've shrunk our heads, but the skulls have stayed the same size. Because we're acting like bleeding, like we're just putting that Yuval Harari and all that he says. We've now become hackable. We're now programmable, and they're doing it. So they've got good men and women who take this oath, and straight away they've stepped away from the will of God, who says, swear not at all, not by heaven, not by earth, and all that. Let your yes be yes and let your no be no. Anything further is from the evil one. Yeah. So they want you to go further. So now you're of the evil one, whether you believe it or whether you don't spiritually. That's where you are. You've had to take an oath, you've had to put on a uniform. Well, uni means one, and form is obvious. You become one form. You become one form of darkness. That's why the uniform is dark. That's why you have the insignia on the badge, because something happens and it's been done purposely and all of that for a specific realm, that these like good men and women, are going to be the Alsatian dogs that herd the other good men and women, the mums and dads, their aunties, their uncles, into these 15-minute cities and into these concentration camps, because they're going to be enshrouded in darkness, because they bow to an evil authority. That they're not acting as men and women, they're acting as humans. That means little monster. That's why the behaviour is monstrous, why law-abiding people and just men and women going about the business who are living in the house, looking after the kids, and they see the police behaving this way. They can't comprehend it. They don't understand it. But it makes total sense to the people perpetrating it, because they're in darkness. They have a peace about it. They have a sense of entitlement about it, that it's the right thing to do. Well, it is the right thing to do if you're coming from the perspective of darkness, because he came to kill, to steal and destroy. And if you're engaged in that activity, that's where you are. It says, by their fruits you will know them. You don't have to know the belief systems. You don't have to get to know them or make them fill in a CV. You'll just watch them, just listen to them. You'll know where they're coming from. It's just obvious. It says no bad tree produces good fruit. No good tree produces bad fruit. If they're hitting people on the heads and they're kicking people in the face, and that's bad fruit. That's bad fruit.